The polar vortex is a region of very cold air that forms in the northern hemisphere over the Arctic in wintertime. The reason it's so cold is that this is a region that gets no sunlight at all for the entire winter season. A similar vortex forms in the southern hemisphere in their winter. The polar vortex is normally a distorted donut of cold around the poles. It more or less forms a circle, though not perfectly. In fact, in the northern hemisphere it tends to be more distorted than in the southern hemisphere. This movie starts with a fairly normal polar vortex concentrated mostly over Canada and the Arctic. But quickly that vortex moves south over eastern North America. And toward the end of the movie you see that it becomes very elongated with a big purple slash across the entire North Pole, with that pool of cold air now sitting throughout the eastern United States, and you can see unusually low temperatures down into northern Florida. What was unusual here, obviously, is that the jet moved so far southward and brought with it that air. As cold air moved south, it broke records throughout the eastern United States as much as 40 degrees below normal, and cold air extended as far as the normally warm Gulf of Mexico and northern Florida.
In the warming world that we're experiencing, the far north, the Arctic, is warming roughly twice as rapidly as the mid-latitudes, such as the United States. That means that the temperature difference between the Arctic and the mid-latitudes is shrinking. And that temperature difference is what drives what is called the circumpolar vortex. As the temperature difference between the Arctic and the mid-latitudes declines, the polar vortex weakens, and it becomes wavier. The waviness means that there can be increased, larger excursions of cold air southward, that is into the mid-latitudes, and in the other phase of the wave, increased excursions of relatively warmer mid-latitude air into the far north.